but also placed a question mark over my planned career at the time. How could I have got it so badly wrong? Some decades ago, a pod of orcas was trapped for a dolphinarium in British Columbia. The 3 whales were fed with fish like all the other animals at the facility, but refused everything they were offered. The management were faced with a choice. Should they wait and see what transpired, or return the animals to the wild? They waited until one of the orcas starved to death, which prompted the others to start eating the fish. Had the whales refused out of protest at the people who had abducted them, or was it just that they didn't like fish? In the same region, the spillage from the grounding of the oil tanker Exxon Valdez in 1989 brought several orca populations close to extinction, but they did not mate with passing orcapods. This behaviour flew in the face of all the logic of evolutionary theory, according to which the animals should have been overjoyed and fallen upon the visiting whales in order to increase their gene pool. Nowadays, we know more. These animals live within a culture that is more than 700,000 years old, with a code of behaviour that prevents one individual from having anything to do with the mammal-consuming killer whales within their species, and stops another from eating fish. The global financial crisis and the behaviour of stock market players shook the world, and the misconduct of a handful of individuals sent whole economies spiralling into a crash. But, surprisingly, the real cause of the crisis did not lie in the greed of a few, as we were given to understand, but in irrational patterns of behaviour that go back over 30 million years, which we share with other primates. So, there are insects that use tools, fish that inhabit a culture, dolphins that give themselves names, elephants that bury their dead, animals that play fair or deliberately lie, and animals that treat themselves with antibiotics or that get us humans to work for them. But what does it mean when a raven can mentally put itself in the position of another raven in order to predict how it will react, or when a magpie recognizes itself in a mirror, or when mammals in general manage to score just as well in cognitive research tests as human beings? How are we to classify this ability? Where, for instance, do animals stand as compared to humans, and when, and under what circumstances, have we all acquired these aptitudes? I will endeavour to answer these and similar questions that arise by citing countless studies. When I have finished, you will no doubt ask, so, what distinguishes us from animals? Not a lot, as it turns out, but this much I can reveal straight away. We humans have one tiny peculiarity that underpins our success as a species, and that is our ability to use language. As such, then, nothing is about to topple humanity from its throne, but even so, in the world you will inhabit after reading this small volume, you and other human beings will no longer be alone. Instead, you will be living alongside other self-aware and sentient beings, and, who knows, perhaps hereafter you'll exchange a polite greeting with this or that raven you chance upon in your neighbourhood. Chapter 2. Going at it like animals. A while ago, I became interested in everything to do with expanded consciousness, and in my search for the philosopher's stone, I stumbled upon tantrism. You know, those Indian sex practices involving odd positions and enlightenment through delayed ejaculation. So, at some point, I found myself in Dussmann's bookshop in Berlin, boldly plucking a book on the subject from a well-organized shelf of volumes. And while I was genuinely interested in the consciousness-raising aspects of tantrism, my eye was inevitably drawn first to the topic of sex in the table of contents. Surprisingly, though, I only struck lucky on page 83 of Chapter 5. Now, take a guess what the author had written there. Yeah, I started reading the book at this page too. I had been rumbled. Although the writer had tried really hard to present tantrism in the correct light and play down the Western, sex-obsessed viewpoint,